You talk about evil. I think evil comes from us not being natural. I don't know there's any evil in the nature, is there? What can you think about in the nature that's evil?
It is. Yeah. Evil is when you allow your own body to live in unpleasure. Because there is only pleasure, genital release, orgasm, pleasure, and there's only one potential fucking opposite to that, and that is unpleasure. If you live all your life in unpleasure, then your whole worldview is now so distorted. In other words, you do not know what pleasure is, right? So then you're going to become addicted to pornography. Not that any of these things are bad in themselves, but now you're going to be a person moving in the world who doesn't have erogenous experiences. But another way of looking at it from the Wilhelm Reich school is that the person of unpleasure is deeply armored. He's a victim of emotional fucking plague. It's that simple. Pleasure or unpleasure. Now, who do you think when you look at the world, when you look at these Ismailis, and not just them, but loads of other people, they're wooden, they're fossilized, they've got used to unpleasure, right? Their own bodies are not pleasurable to be in. Evil? You want to start dissecting the anatomy of fucking evil? There's no orgasm, right? And if there is, it's only through murderous experiences, you know. Look at these serial killers who've got to bite and be... We're sadomasochistic. There's our pleasure. We are completely fallen and lost. And do you know what the process is of getting out of that? You're talking about, you know, the problem. Do you know what the solution is? What a man has to dedicate? You think he can do that when he's part of a crowd? When his brain is colonized, like the average Swedish and Irish person, an American person? You know, how can you escape into health when your own body is loathsome to you? Maybe, you know, consciously you've worked out culture and you disguise that. And look at our pornographic media with its advertisements. On the surface, it looks like it's nothing but sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Take off that fucking media veneer, and you will have people who are in a depressed state, who have never experienced sexual or release or any other form of pleasure from their own body level onwards. It's a diabolical, it's called the emotional plague, as Wilhelm Reich talked about it. How many fucking people have even heard that term? Well, there's your problem. But we're not going to listen to the people who, you know, have put their finger on this at all, because, you know why? Because that's the wound. This unpleasure is also a wound. If you're not having pleasure, you're having unpleasure. And the erogenous zones of pleasure have become deeply antithetical to you. You hate your body. You hate your erogenous zones. You hate the very concept of pleasure. So you become fucking deeply necrophilous and sadomasochistic. Start fucking there. Right? You want to restore these high ones? Oh my God. You have to change your entire mentality about sexuality in a way that is really foreign in the world today. And the men who fucking told you about it were imprisoned in gulags and in fucking stockades and died there. That's the fate of anybody who else tries to stand up and, you know, address these issues. Look, just keep pleasure, unpleasure. It's a really simple formula. So when I go and seek it here and I seek it there, right? I seek it every fucking where, right? That is the culture that's really ultimately seeking for a beautiful thing. But you're not going to find it. When the woman says, men don't satisfy me sexually, look at these freaks running around with their placards. Right? Those are people who are in a deep sense of unpleasure. So you need the orgasm by screaming loudly with a placard in your hand and a bunch of other girlies around you. So when I get together in a big mass crowd, I'm seeking the orgasm, and I get it through the oral fixation. You're thrashing about looking for pleasure, which is a very divine and brilliant thing. But you fucking didn't listen to Osho. You didn't fucking listen to Wilhelm Reich. You didn't listen to Arthur Yanov, you know, and people I mentioned continually through my work. Well, then, you know, then perish in misery, blaming the other person. But it's actually your biology, your psychosoma, right? Your bioenergy that's armored, but you're going to blame, you know, oh, my husband is hopeless or the wife is no good, right? Look at the fallout from broken homes, broken families, right? And yet not one person is putting their finger on the key of it. Nobody knows how to soften their own being, become sensitive, so that you can now have proper, you know, orgone experience, biotic experience. There's only necrophilia, which I say is the armoring, or there's the biophilia. So how many people are biophilic? How many people love to be alive? How many people can say that their own body is a source of pleasure to them in the deep sense that Reich was talking about? Very fucking few. And if you're in unpleasure, then all the other diseases and unhealth that we experience, from arthritis onwards to, you know, all of it, blood sugar issues, heart problems. All of this is arising, right? Because the body is unpleasured. You know, so people need to meditate on that. We're doing other shows on that. I've written a recent article on it, right? This whole thing is about your own insensitivity. And nature, as we said, is a big help because nature will make you sensitive, right? There is solutions to all the things we're talking about. Getting out more and more into a natural environment, out of this urban gulag, you know, will be a major, major help in the process, because nature's there for millennia. And its job is to sensitize you and bring you back to, you know, a reset. But the person who will refuse to do that is just going to be as armored and as walled up as the urban environment. Some worse than others, you know. It's just shades of gray there.